Good evening and welcome to Just Business on Lagos Television. This is the program where we bring you in-depth analysis about the nation's economy and also about the business world in Nigeria. It is Just Business and I am Romelia Asangbedu welcoming you to another edition of the show. On today's edition, we'll be looking at renewable energy potentials in Nigeria. Nigeria has abundance of various renewable energy resources of which solar, wind, biomass and small hydropower are the most common according to the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC). These conventional and renewable sources of energy can potentially provide the country with a significant capacity to meet the ambitions of both urban and rural Nigerians of a full nationwide electrification level. However, Nigeria has one of the lowest consumption rates of electricity per capita in Africa. Only 43% of Nigerians are on the national grid. Of the 60% of the rural areas, just 20% have access to electricity. With the demand superseding the generation, there is an inequitable access of rural communities to the electricity service in the country. Achieving an affordable clean energy in accordance to the Sustainable Development Goal 7 is a challenge in Nigeria and other nations in Africa. Most of the currently used energy strategies are either not sustainable or poorly maintained. Nigeria is a major exporter of fossil fuel, but currently faced with serious energy crisis, which necessitates the search for a sustainable renewable form of energy as alternative to fossil fuel in order to meet the SDG 7. Can we anticipate important renewable energy policies to meet acceleration soon? And can renewable energy supply enough electricity to the teeming Nigerians? And what potentials are there in that sector? These are some of the things we'll be looking at on today's edition of the show. But as we always do first, we take you around major business news of the day on Just Business News. And when we come back, we'll be talking in depth as to exactly what the potentials of renewable energies are in Nigeria. It is Just Business, and we will be back after this break. Stay with us. We do appreciate your company on Just the Business this evening. Of course, it is time for us to have some context into our topic for today, renewable energy potentials in Nigeria. Climate change has become a 21st century reality, an emergency, with countries quickly making changes while recognizing the urgency of the challenge. Countries, including Nigeria, are aiming for emissions reduction, pledging towards net zero emissions as the world gradually moves away from fossil fuel, Nigeria's major export. Let's get some context now with our analyst in the house. Mr. Segun Adaju is the National President, Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria. Let's welcome him to the show. Good evening, sir. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. All right, so a shift that has never been seen before is what the world is experiencing, making deliberate efforts to move away from dirty, as some people would say, alternatives towards cleaner energy. Let's get the context first about Africa and by extension Nigeria. How ready are we for this shift, for this move?
Thank you so much and good evening everyone. The world is currently facing a potential, and it's becoming almost imminent, risk of climate change, where weather conditions are changing, so many issues have affected, and one of the contributing factors is the way we generate and use energy. All right, and especially energy from fossil fuel, from alternatives that are polluting, that are non-sustainable, let me use that word. Moving from that to cleaner sources of energy. For example, the use of generators, both diesel and petrol generators, the use of polluting cars, so the world is moving to electric cars now, and so many other sources that is killing the planet. And Nigeria has one of the best resources for renewable energy sources and technologies, starting from solar to bioenergy, biomass, energy from waste, okay, to small hydro, to even as much as what we call geothermal, energy from the earth, heat that's generated. And in Africa, almost 800 million people don't have access to to energy. So they generate energy in any sources that they have. Kerosene lanterns, petrol generators, the popular better parts my neighborhood that we're used to in Nigeria, and the kind of pollution, emission that we're getting from these sources, it's killing the environment. So the world is moving away from that. So, and Nigeria, particularly Africa, is located around the equator. We're a little bit above the equator. And we have huge solar resources, for example, that can power almost the whole of Nigeria. If you put solar panel on about 1 to 2% of the land mass of Nigeria, then you'll be able to generate enough energy to power the whole of Nigeria. Not to talk of the energy from wastage. Lagos alone should generate over 18,000 metric tons of waste per day. And that can be converted, to energy that is cleaner. And then we move away from polluting resources. So Africa is already on that threshold. The world is talking about SDG 7, Sustainable Goal 7, access to affordable, clean, and modern energy sources, and gradually moving away. There are some countries that have said by year 2030 they will not be polluting the world any longer. Countries like Norway, Sweden, right? They already have that.
That was the outcome of the COP26.
Exactly. But Nigeria is also in that threshold. I must also commend the federal government of Nigeria on some of the moves they've made, and also Lagos State. Lagos State government recently passed an electricity policy that is encouraging the adoption of clean technology. So we're seeing that already. There are various case studies that I can mention, even in Nigeria, where
because I know you embarked on this study to uncover some of these barriers and these challenges that limits mobilization, administration of funds, especially for the rural areas, most importantly, in electrification of the nation. Can we take these barriers and the challenges one after the other? Yes, we have the Lagos State passing the law. We have the federal government even pledging at the COP26 just last year. We also have the initiative from the federal government, the national gas policy as well. But what are the barriers? Because it does look like, yes, we have all of these initiatives and we're still so very far away from the reality where the world is at. Right.
Okay, so thank you so much. Some of the barriers, and I'll mention 2 or 3. Number 1 is the issue of the awareness of the capacity and potential of these technologies. Many people still believe that solar doesn't work. For example, many believe that these technologies are not sustainable. They can't power my house, my air conditioners, my factories. But gradually, there are a lot of awareness that is being made. For example, the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria, I'm the president. We're doing a lot of advocacy. We go to communities. We do, road shows to showcase that this technology works. For example, my house in Magodo has been powered by solar for 8 years. For 8 years. And there are instances of, for example, there's a filling station very close to Sheraton. I think it's Onigbo.
We can't mention names.
Yeah, okay, great. Okay, so I can mention straight. Mobolaji Bank Anthony, right? Yeah, that are powered by solar. Several. There are factories in Nigeria already powered by renewable energy technology. However, we need to create more awareness to let every Nigerian know that these technologies are durable and they are also affordable. Number two is the issue of policy framework also. So there are incentives that are created in new markets. So when countries like Germany started deploying renewable energy technologies, they created incentives, tax holidays, VAT exemptions, import duty exemptions, and the rest, okay, to encourage people to adopt solar. In those days, and I think even up to now in some countries, if you have solar on your rooftop, you could sell the excess to the national grid and make some money. So at the end of the, so if that is in Nigeria now, virtually everybody will want to put solar on their rooftop and make money. Then there's the issue of standardization. So you have a lot of substandard products in the market, and I must agree that they exist. So they create a challenge between people saying, does it work? And does it not work? Okay.
The Standard Organization of Nigeria came in at some point,
right,
to clear the market of some substandard goods. How is that going on? Right.
I mean, they're doing a great job. For example, tomorrow they are launching a testing center somewhere in Ogba that will test solar systems, solar home systems. Okay, so they are doing a lot of work, but of course, I mean, Nigeria is a very big place. What I will encourage SON to do, Standard Organization of Nigeria, is implementation, really ensuring that those policies in place are implemented and avoiding fake products coming to town. So standard is an issue. Okay, and then finally, the issue of finance. So people say, oh, it's expensive.
The elephant in the room.
Yes, it's expensive. But let me prove to you, I've done some pilots working with barbers, as a typical case in Lagos, and I've been able to prove that solar is cheaper for a barber in over 2 years than using a petrol generator. However, the challenge is that they don't have the initial capital to put down. So what did we do? I'm a former banker. We created a product that will ensure that barbers get installation after paying a very small fee, all right, installation fee, and then they are paying every week some amount, weekly, and over 2 years, 2.5 years, they fully pay for the system and they own it.
What you've really talked about now is the renewable energy ecosystem that we have right now operating within this climes, and it's full of innovation. That's what you're saying right now. However, there are some issues around financing, for example, and I also hear there are issues around foreign exchange, because some of these things have to be imported in, and then you have to purchase them with the dollar-denominated currencies.
That's right.
Those are big issues. They are big. So now that there is now a move, a push towards cleaner energy, how do the governments come in at this point? Because it does look like private sector cannot do it all by themselves. There have to be some form of collaboration going forward. Yes,
I agree with you. Government has a big role to play. Number one, creating an enabling environment. And that's what most governments of other countries have done to encourage this technology. So in a nascent new market, you need to create some incentives for investors, private sector to come in. Private capital will do the job, right? However, if it is too harsh and not conducive, private capital will move to another country, like we're seeing. So what government needs to do is, for example, we've talked about incentives. Encourage investors to come into Nigeria in this market, number one. Number two, we say create a level playing field. And now, most people probably will not agree with me. Why will you subsidize petrol when we're trying to move towards cleaner energy? So it makes cleaner energy more expensive than fossil fuel technology. Create a level playing field. Don't give anybody any subsidy. Leave both markets to find their level. Let the price of current electricity also be commercially driven. All right?
I see why lots of people would know that these are not very...
Exactly. No, but that's what we need to do. Okay, and also create some funding pilots. And I would say federal government is doing that. For example, there's a loan that the federal government of Nigeria took from the World Bank and African Development Bank, $550 million to push what we call the Nigerian electrification project, to encourage private sector like us to come into the field. So we're developing mini grids all over the place. Government is powering hospitals, schools. By University Kano is powered by solar, for example, and many other. So they are showing that pilot. However, they need to do more. They need to create that enabling environment. And also, encourage local production. Some of our members are already doing this, in Nigeria. For example, there's a company, I'll mention the name, that is assembling solar panels already in Nigeria. So avoiding and trying to bypass the forex issue, because forex is a big issue for us. We hardly get allocation of foreign exchange. So you have to struggle and just find your dollar somehow. So it makes the product expensive. So encourage local producers. So if I say I want to produce in Nigeria now, I should have some tax holiday, for example, 5 years, some incentive from government for me to produce in Nigeria, the components, and then make it cheaper. And also conserve the foreign exchange of Nigeria and then try and balance and bring down the value of Naira to the dollar.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I want to get into all other alternatives we have, and I really want to talk about gas. Of course, it's been recently labeled as clean energy by the EU. We will get into the nitty-gritty of that. But first, the question someone asked me while I was preparing for the program, I'm sure you know what the cost of gas is right now just for household cooking. All right. Can we have solar energy for cooking?
Okay, so yeah, I just returned from Kigali, where the Sustainable Energy for All was held. The forum was held, and the CEO is actually also a Nigerian, a wonderful woman doing a great job, Damilola Ogunbiyi. And I saw technologies that is solar-driven, cooking, okay? Cooking technology that is solar-powered. And I'm getting some units to test also. But I believe in gas. Nigeria has abundant gas resources, okay? It could have been too good if Nigeria could power itself with gas, all right? It's clean, although it's not renewable, but it's clean energy, and I believe in gas. However, there are constraints to gas. Number one, the price of gas has shot up. Of course, what's happening in Ukraine and Russia is creating that market. It's more profitable for project developers, for organizations in the gas space to sell abroad than in Nigeria. Okay, so that's number one. The price has shot up. Number two, there are constraints about gas. Availability. So for gas to be available, it's a challenge. So
when we talk about availability, how can we have the largest deposit of gas, yet we flare much, and then now we're talking about availability? Right. Isn't that an irony?
It's a paradox, I will say this. And government also need to play strongly in this area. You need to penalize very harshly gas flaring and encourage those who are flaring gas to convert it to other uses, for example. Number two, you need to also encourage some adoption mechanisms in Nigeria. For example, in some countries, gas cylinders are given out for free. So you get a gas cylinder for free, and then you are topping the gas, and of course, they get their money back from that topping of gas.
Because you're paying by installments.
Exactly, by installment. So many Nigerians, there should be a program rolling out like 5 million units of cooking gas cylinders in Nigeria for free, for example. And then you can collect your money back somehow. So government also need to ensure that we stop gas flaring, invest in gas development, pipelines. Also, pipeline vandalism is also a challenge,
an issue.
Right?
My producer is saying we have to wrap up now. She's never very kind to me when these conversations are going nicely. But I must ask you this question. The Petroleum Industry Act, at what point do we see it's been said to be the driver to unlocking Nigerian economy, especially with alternatives? So what should the implementation framework be at this point so we can begin to harness lots of the benefits and the potentials that just abound? All right.
We're happy that the Petroleum Industry Act has been passed. It took a long time. I was at an event about 3-4 weeks ago with the Minister of State, for Petroleum. Okay. Yes, exactly. Where we're looking at, the combination of renewables and gas in enhancing Nigeria's energy need. For example, gas is seen as a transition energy for Nigeria, which I also agree. But the implementation is the issue that we need. We have the act now. We need to get down to there are various provisions of what government needs to do, what private sector needs to do in the act. We need to be bold enough to implement this, and then we'll begin to see how gas is the transition energy, because Nigeria is also fighting and arguing in the world. And African countries like Nigeria needs base load power before we can talk of this full transition. So we have gas. Gas should also be seen as clean energy that we can deploy. And I think with proper implementation of the Act, we should see Nigerians being powered We should see half of Nigerians that are not connected to the grid to have energy access. We should see over 100 million Nigerians that are energy poor to begin to have energy access.
Begin to have energy. So just look into the mirror ball and see how great Nigeria. 2030 is what the whole Organization of Nations are all clamoring for, cleaner energy. We're leaving now 30 seconds. So what do you see for Nigeria with all that we have, infrastructure, human capital, all the things we have? Where do you see Nigeria? Okay, so also
making reference to the Kigali event that I just returned from, it was clear that Nigeria, seeing the plans, Nigeria, by 2030, we expect at least 50% of the targets will have been achieved. Nigeria's full transition is now 2050. Okay. And I'm very hopeful by 2030, energy access will have been created for most Nigerians, but full transition might take up to 2050 for Nigeria.
It will take another 20 years.
Yes, 2050.
After the world has, okay, yeah. Well, we'll take that. At least that's better than we've not done anything at all and we're not anywhere. Yeah. But it's always a pleasure to have these conversations with you, all our panelists. I mean, you give us hope that we have all it takes. Yeah. It's just implementation, all the framework and all that need to be done and we need to do. I wish you the very best as well.
Thank you.
In your endeavor. And we do hope at least you can approach us and let's see what we can do.
Absolutely.
Not only on the show, and also how you can give us some solar power.
Oh, sure.
You should. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Segun Adaju, National President, Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria. Pleasure. All right, viewers, you've heard it all from our panelists this evening. As always, everyone agrees that Nigeria is capable to get and roll with the world. How far can we go with our implementation framework? That is where the big question is. All right, join us again next edition of Just Business. And as we always tell you, if you have any product or service you like the world to know about, Just Business is a program to be on. Callers are coming to the studio. You just might be here talking about your company, the people who run them, and your products and services. Until we see you again next edition, I am Romelia Sangbedu. Have a very good evening.